Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. This is my second review video covering the March 2023 Speed Champion sets. The first one was about the Ferrari 812. If you missed it, then you can watch it by clicking on the link in the top right corner. Today, I will show you in details the next set in line, the 76915 Pagani Utopia. Pagani is a brand new license in the LEGO world, and the Utopia was revealed last September. It is actually only the third car model from Pagani. You can see the car on the front of the box with the Pagani headquarters and museum in the background. Yes, if you check Street View, even the flowers are there. You can see the rear of the car on the back of the box as usual, a nice photo of the real car, and another view of the LEGO version with some brand new pieces visible. Let's open the box. The set has 249 pieces, the price is €25 or dollars, and it will be available from the 1st of March. There are two numbered bags in the box, the new chassis piece, the sticker sheet and the manual. Here's a close-up of the sticker sheet. It is significantly smaller than the one of the Ferrari, and here is the part list that you can pause for some observation. Now let's start building. We begin with the brand new chassis piece. If you want to know the differences between this and the previous one, I suggest to watch my Ferrari video where I explained all the differences. These weird plates always surprise me with their existence, despite seeing them in the DeLorean and other builds already. Now this one is definitely new. A 1x3 rounded plate with hollow studs. We had this in a 1x2 form already, now it comes in a longer version. I remember Chris mentioning this piece, but it was not requested by the Speed Champions team, so I'm sure it will have some key role in other 2023 sets as well. A fair amount of classic bricks, it's always nice to see them in these sets. Here is the new wheel arch piece. Again, I had the details and the comparison in the Ferrari video, please watch that for the details. We started to build a weird assembly, and here's the first printed piece of the set, a 1x1 tile with the central rear brake light, I assume. Here are these brand new super versatile pieces. It is 1x1, 2 plate high, hollow stud on the front, rounded back. Chris talked about this piece a lot in his presentation, so I suggest to watch it. I linked it in the top right corner. It will be definitely interesting to see how this new piece will be used in the model. Well, here's a nice example. We've got these round plates with bars here, and the new piece below. This 1x2 plate with hollow studs fits on them perfectly like this, pretty cool. And why do we need this setup? Because of the doors. Yes, the LEGO Pagani Utopia is a 4-door hypercar. It has a rather unconventional door placement, but they are all here. Here's the rear section of the car for reference, and I think this solution was absolutely brilliant from the Speed Champions team. We get a printed tile for the 4 exhausts in the middle, and there seems to be a slight error in the manual. The grey shadow, which is supposed to be at the bottom according to the box and other photos, seems to be on the right side in the manual. Not a big deal, and I guess most people will follow their instincts and place it properly. We have the rear lights in place as well, and now this whole assembly has to be attached to those clips on the chassis. Oops! Okay guys, pro tip, don't hold that assembly by the doors. Let's try it again. And don't try to push it from the top, as that's not the correct position. It should go in place like this. There's some wiggle in the system. I wonder if it will be more stable if the surrounding pieces are already in place. We've got these little metallic roller skate pieces here to symbolize the top of the engine that will be visible through the window. Classy nougat leather seats for the interior. Make sure to align the pieces properly. They should be in line with the pieces on the floor. First of the few stickers applied. Interestingly, this 1x6 brick won't be attached to anything at the bottom, it will only have connections at the top. Okay, I made a mistake. These pieces should be here over the rear wheels and not there. This allows even more movement for that whole rear assembly. I'm a bit worried. After adding a few bits and pieces, here comes the window covering the engine. It is held in place by clips, of course. This is the end of bag 1. Bag 2 begins with some brand new parts again. We have a pair of new 2x5 slopes with a cutout underneath. I think the Star Wars team will like these one very much, and they are already available in dark bluish grey. They can be attached like this, or also like this. Perfect pieces for some cool starships. Here they are used for the rear section of the car. This side also gets a sticker for the fuel cap. Here's the assembly with the steering wheel. It is properly aligned to the driver's seat this time. This is the front axle, then the sticker dashboard, the front wheel arches, then we start the front assembly. Yet another printed piece. This time it is barely visible as it is on the side of this plate. Super funky build alert. We have this assembly placed upside down, a pneumatic T-connector, 2 hollow 1x1s, and the minifigure ice skate. and all these go into these plates with hollow studs that are upside down, and the whole thing clips on the main assembly. And here's the icing on the cake, the middle front section with two clip holders stacked, attached to the center of the plate, held in place with clips again, with the two printed headlight pieces, forming a perfect front end that looks just like the original. Oh wait, there's a last surprise. The brand new 6x6 windshield piece, following the curvature of the car much better compared to the previous pieces like this one from the Ferrari. And of course the tiny vertical side section is printed. Now adding the wheels with the wheel covers and we are finished. Oh, let's not forget the driver. Here's our guy with a full Pagani racing suit, even the legs are printed, looks cool I think, and he fits in the car well of course. The interior looks pretty nice by the way with all the nougat accents. So here's our finished model and I think it looks great. Pagani cars are full of organic shapes, so it's quite a challenge to replicate them in Lego form, especially at this scale, but I think the designers in the Speed Champions team did a respectable job. If we check the side profile, then we can appreciate the benefits of the new chassis and wheel arch pieces. The car sits super low, just like the real one. Some details are simplified of course, some others are replicated with stickers, but there are quite a few brick build details as well. I really like the front end with the ice skate pieces and the clips in the center, these two curved side panels replicated with the 1x1 Lego tiles, the print on the windshield piece replicating the windows on the top, and of course the rear end with the doors that looks super cool. Color reproduction on the windshield piece is surprisingly good by the way. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with dark bluish grey or the process itself was improved, but there's no big difference between the printed transparent piece and the bricks themselves. Sticker background colors are fairly accurate as well. Again, I'm not sure if it is the shade or any improvement in the printing itself. They are still off from certain angles, but at least they don't jump in your face. There's one thing I mentioned during the build and I have to revisit the topic as the car is finished, the stability of the rear section. If you remember, this assembly is held in place with clips and it sits at an angle to replicate the complex rear end of the car. There's one problem with it, it moves. There's a certain play here and I'm sure some people will be disappointed with it. If the car is on the ground and you simply push it around, then you won't notice it, but if you want to grab the rear section, then it will be quite obvious. The car is otherwise pretty solid, you can twist and turn the skates at the front, but that's pretty much all. The correct position of the rear section is the lowest one by the way, where it sits by default. As you see, the end of these pieces is kind of level and they replicate the line of the original body panels. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who will find an obvious fix in like 5 minutes, but I trust the Speed Champions team and I think if there was an easy way to fix it, then it would be included in the build. I tried to add some clips below the assembly and managed to have it fixed, but I'm not sure the pieces weren't stressed and it fixed the assembly in the upmost position, which is definitely not the correct one. So, this is a compromise the designers had to make. The assembly and the end result looks amazing, but the integrity and stability of the model somewhat suffered. This leads me to an interesting philosophical question. What do we expect at this point from the Speed Champions cars? It used to be a play theme, but now with the new generations we are almost approaching the level of detail of some smaller die-cast cars, as the designers are continuously pushing the boundaries of the material. So, what should be the main focus of these cars? Details above everything else, or should the designers stop chasing that at some point and sacrifice accuracy for the sake of stability and playability? This is an interesting question and I would love to know your opinion. I personally love the level of detail and the building techniques squeezed in these sets. I think this is one of the most innovative themes of LEGO nowadays, but I also understand people who consider the age rating of these sets and still want these cars to be playable. So folks, please share your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications, as we still have a cool Porsche to review and I have other exciting LEGO videos as well in the pipeline. So see you next time, bye bye.